It's time to wake up to India's appalling road safety standards. Hello and welcome to a CNN IBN campaign, Drive Safe. For the next 3 hours, we will be debating, looking at the problems and also the solutions to the country's monumental road safety issues. In the headlines, 15 people die in road accidents every hour, the highest in the world, says the WHO's latest survey. Union Minister Gopinath Munde's death putting the focus back on India's appalling road safety standards.
If Mr. Gopinath Munde was wearing a belt, impact of that shock could not have, you can say, taken the type of toll that it took.
Health Minister now wants a seatbelt rule to be enforced strictly, says seatbelts not ornamental but crucial in saving lives, wants to make it mandatory for rear seat passengers as well.
The rules are not because a traffic policeman is there. The rules are because if we all comply with rules, it would be a much safer journey for us.
You are responsible for your safety. Traffic rules should be followed not out of fear of enforcers but to arrive safe and also protect others.
The need of the hour is a comprehensive national road safety law that not only works to prevent road accidents but also provides protection to those who come forward to help injured persons.
Founder of Save Life Foundation, Piyush Tiwari, turns citizen journalist to highlight the need for a comprehensive national road safety law. And we'll be getting more with our reporters. Meenakshi Upreti will be joining us at the same intersection where Union Minister Gopinath Munde lost his life. Also joining us ahead will be Sakshi Arora. She'll also get us a guess and be speaking to them about enforcement of traffic laws by ordinary citizens like you and me. We are also joined by our guest, Piyush Tiwari, founder, member, Save Life Foundation here. Also joining us, Rishi Raj Singh, the Kerala's Transport Commissioner, who has made several changes in his city. We'll get you his inspirational story ahead. But first, Gopinath Munde's sudden death has focused attention now on India's appalling road safety standards. Almost 15 road accident deaths in India are reported every hour. Sahil Meghani reports.
India, home to the world's largest number of road deaths, according to WHO's latest report. The national capital is no better. So what is it that makes our roads so unsafe?
People take the enforcement so very lightly. They can simply pay 100 rupees or don't pay, or have a sort of a compromise and get away. And so that's a problem.
Not just that, even the cars in India lack basic safety measures.
If people wear seatbelts at the back, it can avoid them from ramming into the front passenger or the side passengers. It can avoid severe head injury and severe spinal injury. In this case, we can see very clearly that the seatbelts that were provided have been removed. Most road users in India don't use seatbelt at the back. They either remove it or they get hidden behind the seat covers.
Even today, we find traffic rules being brazenly violated, putting lives at risk.
3 लोगों को बाइक पे अलाउड नहीं है.
बच्चा है सर ये.
बच्चा है लेकिन बच्चे को लग जाएगी.
I don't know. I have a seat belt.
You're not wearing it.
I'm not wearing it, but
Would you like to wear then?
I don't think so. It's not too comfortable to wear.
Heart of the issue is not just violation of rules or insufficient safety measures inside our vehicles, but an overall lack of concern towards road safety, an issue that almost always seems to take a backseat. It's high time now that this becomes a talking point and possibly much more than that. In New Delhi, this is Sahil Meghani.
And at the bottom of it all, it's you and me. We have to follow traffic rules. That's how change can come in across the country, not just here in Delhi. Let's start with the national capital first, and because this is in fact a tipping point when it comes to raising this issue about road safety. Let's look at Delhi's most vulnerable crossings. We are talking about Shastri Park crossing. The reason we are doing this is because we'll get in experts to weigh in on why these areas are definitely vulnerable. The Shakarpur Chungi crossing is another area where a number of accidents and people have lost their lives. Also the Ashram Chowk, every year a lot of accidents are reported from this area. These areas, of course, pinpointed not just by locals but by traffic police. The Silampur Chowk is another area where we see maximum accidents, and of course West Punjabi Bagh crossing is another area. Let's get in Meenakshi Upreti. She's at the intersection where Union Minister Gopinath Munde met with that fatal accident. She's joined by an expert. Meenakshi, is there a design problem as far as the Delhi roads are concerned, or are people to blame?
Actually, Karma, it's both, you know. I was just speaking to the expert. They tell us there are various factors. One is the human error and then is the design. Right now, I'm at the same intersection where Mr. Munde met with an accident. Remember, Mr. Munde was going from this very road, Prithviraj Road, and he was going to Safdarjung Road. And that is right there at 6:20 a.m. He met with an accident when a car coming from that intersection, Aurobindo Road, rammed into his car. Right now, I have an expert with me. I have Mr. Ramashankar Pandey of Drive Safe, Drive Smart campaign. So, what is it that makes these roads particularly vulnerable, and what are the precautions what could have been taken that day?
Meenakshi, there is multiple angles to any road accident like this. As you rightly said, there are human angle, the vehicle safety angle, the road design angle, and you also have the traffic control angle. And in this case, we saw everything failing more or less. If any one of these would have worked, at least this fatal accident should have been converted to non-fatal. If you see a road safety as a cycle, let's focus on something where we say there are 3 steps. You have these steps called recognition, reaction, injury avoidance. You need to recognize the traffic, especially on the intersection which is colliding. So to see and to be seen is important. In the recognition phase, there are proactive safety before the accident happens. For example, you have best practices around the world, in Netherlands, in all the European countries. You can look at in this car, for example, you have this daytime running light. People ask why you need a daytime running light. It is actually to recognize the traffic immediately before the collision, and you can avoid a fatal collision. This is proactive. Similarly, when the accident happens, you need to see how the seat belts are used. In this case, you have a reactive safety. Yeah, the rear seat belt is a must. We always see, if your foreigner comes to my country, we always see they buckle up. But in our case, why does this? Let us look at it. If you see, yes, why the seat belt is given? It is not for decoration, of course. If Mr. Munde would have actually just buckled this, most of the car, it is there. You know, the impact could have been avoided.
Right.
And the internal injury which happened could have been supported by the seat belt. It is always safe, seat belts will save us. So if you look at proactive active safety, if you look at the human error to be solved, we can avoid these kind of accidents.
Right. So Karma, we just heard it from the expert. It's not only the laws but the implementation and the will to sort of follow them. You know, had Mr. Munde worn the rear seat belt, which we heard Dr. Harshvardhan also say, had that small step been taken, his life probably could have been saved.
Right. We'll also want you to be off that road as soon as possible, Meenakshi, because we are talking about road safety here. Be safe. Also getting in Sakshi Khanna. Sakshi, you know, you are bringing us a story of an individual, isn't it, who's been relentless in a place like Noida, where we don't see people following traffic rules very, very often. But this man has been out there. I've seen him several times out on the road educating people, isn't it, Sakshi?
Right, we are in Noida right now, and I must tell you that traffic rules are hardly obeyed in Noida, and people are not serious about their own safety. And if I can show you a little bit, we are on this red light. People have to stop beyond this zebra crossing. We can hardly see anyone stopping beyond that. So there are very basic rules which people don't follow, and this is the carelessness, like jumping off red light, or probably if we talk about not wearing seat belts. Right now we have with us so-called Traffic Baba, he's called in Noida. Let's speak to him. Sir, since when are you doing this, and what was the motivation behind this? Do you think these are small carelessness that people make that lead to major accidents?
Yeah, definitely it is a carelessness of the people. Main thing is that we, as per Kiran Bedi, she told education is a must for it. For that, we are trying for last 2 years. We are going to the schools of our own with my group Road Angels, and we educate the children about the traffic rules, awareness. It has to be, people have to be brought to awareness by educating them and tell them this is one thing. I tell people to put on the rear seat belt, they say iski zarurat nahi hai. and that has made one of the minister to die in that.
So one thing I want to show you, Karma, you can see there's this cycle person who's standing here. He's in the middle of the road and he's trying to jump the red light. It's hardly a 60-second or a minute delay that he has to take, but he's trying to cross the road. These cycle people are always trying to cross the road, which leads to major accident. Uncle, do you go and tell these people that they should not cross the road? Let's go to them. We can also see few people who are not wearing helmets. So this is like a major problem. Why are you not wearing the helmet?
आपकी भलाई के लिए है
वो तो बात सही है
और इसी की वजह से मैं 11 साल
Why are you not wearing it? Do you think it's a major threat to your life also? Do you
I
understand?
know.
But why are you not wearing it?
मैं मेरा हेलमेट खो चुका है, वो हेलमेट है नहीं, मेरे को नहीं लेना पड़ेगा।
तो नया क्यों नहीं ले रहे हैं? Why aren't you buying it?
अब मॉर्निंग दुकान किसी खुली हुई, मॉर्निंग में कोई है नहीं हेलमेट के लिए भी, अब जाना पड़ेगा मार्केट में तो लेके आना पड़ेगा।
But do you agree? आप लेंगे अभी पक्का जाके?
You promised me, I'm 78 years traffic Baba, that you will put on the helmet from tomorrow. God bless you. God bless you.
See, Karma, you can see people are not following basic traffic rules, and that is the major problem that the Delhi and NCR and probably all across the country traffic safety is facing. People are not wearing seat belts. This man is trying a lot for a very long time, but we cannot see any major changes.
Yes, Traffic Baba has been relentless when it comes to telling people to follow traffic rules as far as Noida is concerned, but I'm still glad that some of those people are stopping at the at those traffic signals, because usually in Noida they just whiz past. So a lot of lessons to be learned. I'm now joined by Rishiraj Singh, Kerala Transport Commissioner, joining us from Trivandrum. So I've been doing some research on you, and I've spoken to some of my friends in Kerala. They are mortally scared of you. But is this the right way of policing? Because, it has to come from within. Because the question is, if you go away, if you're transferred out tomorrow, the same people will be drinking and driving again. What is the answer to this?
You see, we need not wait people to be educated, or we need not wait for the people that they will finally after we advising them, they will finally start following traffic laws. That time has gone. Now, as far as we are concerned, we should start implementing the traffic laws strictly. We have enough laws with us. Anybody saying that there is any flaw in the law, even the Central Motor Vehicle Act, which was passed way back 25 years ago in 1988, that act itself has very strong measures which we are now implementing in the state of Kerala, and we are getting good results. I mean, even our efforts which we did in the last 4 months of 2013 and in 2014 till now, the accident death rate as well as the accidents have come drastically down in Kerala. So we as officials, that is motor vehicle department officials as well as police department, should simply start implementing laws. Things will fall in line.
Right, so start implementing laws. You agree, because last time we had the same conversation, you were also telling us, yes, the laws are in place. One, it's about people, for people to listen in, for people to, worry for themselves and their families. It starts with the people, isn't it? That is what we've seen time and again.
Well, I'm a big fan of the work that Mr. Rishiraj Singh has done in Kerala. And I agree with him that it's time for a strong enforcement. The only point I disagree with him on is that the law is sufficient to deal with the current set of problems. But just to answer your question, I think that it has to be a mix of education and enforcement. And education can't be of the kind where you just put boards saying "do not drink and drive." I think human beings are intelligent creatures, and they need to understand, reasons behind why they should change their behavior, to a certain way. Well, until I knew that when I'm driving my car, even with both my side view mirrors open, that there is a blind spot that still exists, I would not really turn around and check, to see if there is a cyclist or a motorcyclist right next to my car before I would change a lane.
But after I got to know that and I got educated about that, I became much more careful. So I think it has to be a combination of education and enforcement has to become much tighter. It can't remain officer driven. It has to become institutionalized. There have to be systems built that after good officers are transferred out or moved away, that system continues. And we have seen in various cities like Delhi and Mumbai especially, where really good officers have come, they've taken action, and after they were transferred out, things went back to status quo. So it has to be a combination of both things.
Right, so a combination. Mr. Rishiraj Singh, interesting things that you've done. You've been able to enforce, you've taken strict measures against drunken and reckless drivers. Immediately you suspend license of drivers. But my only question is, what after you? You are transferred out. We've seen that in Delhi. One diligent, good officer transferred out, and things return to square one. Then people start making calls. You're caught in a drunken driving violation, and you make a call to one powerful friend of yours, and you are let off. But till when can this go on? Can automation be the answer? Mr. Rishiraj, can you hear me?
Yes. You see, the time has come that we need not indulge in endless discussions on these phony questions like this, whether the legacy which I have started will be carried out by other officers or not. We don't have time for all these questions. Kerala is a literate state. The good measures which we have started definitely will be carried out in future also. If there is any lacuna on part of the officers, it is the general public who is educated will ensure that these measures are still further carried out. Now, even as you said that the road condition or the design of the road, let me tell you, these are all very feeble explanations. One, if you take the percentage of the accidents which are occurring due to various reasons, the 85% accidents in this country occur due to only one single factor, that is overspeeding.
Right.
Now let me tell you that the cities, Delhi is a city, there are hundreds of cities are there in the state where the speed cannot be more than 35 kilometers per hour. If we started implementing only single formula, that is, nobody shall be allowed to speed more than 35 kilometers in a city, now half of our problems will be sorted out, the death rate will come down. You take the example of, we are talking about Delhi's the recent accident where a VVIP lost his life.
Right.
We are all saying that seat belts should have been there, whether the road design should have been different, but nevertheless the factor remains that it was an over-speeding vehicle which hit the VVIP's car.
Right.
If the vehicle would have been only up to 35 kilometers per hour, injuries would have been there, but the VVIP would have survived. Let us take even one single, let us have one single motto that let overspeed be reduced all over the country. All other things we should talk about later.
Right, certainly so. So the officers across the country have a lot to learn from you, and you've certainly set an example. We will be coming to you with more questions. In fact, we go into a break with an important message. Shubhajit Sen Gupta spoke to Union Health Minister on how Gopinath Munde's life could have been saved.
Earlier in the week, we saw a sad demise of your cabinet colleague, sir. In that, you'd said that a seat belt could have made a difference.
Yes, of course. You see, the type of injuries that he received definitely signify to a very large extent the importance of the use of seat belt in prevention of such injuries, and particularly fatal injury in this case, resulting in spontaneous death. You see, if Mr. Gopinath Munde was wearing a belt, then the impact of that shock could not have, you can say, taken the type of toll that it took. It cost him his life. You see, then we could have probably saved the liver from the impact of the shock. We could have saved the spine from the impact of the shock. Otherwise, when you are literally not aware of what's going to happen in the next second, then your body, if it suddenly gets a jerk or something, it cannot basically absorb that shock. But the belt helps you in absorbing that you can say unwanted or sudden shock, which was uninvited shock. So this is something which is very important, and most of the people somehow feel that if you are sitting on the rear seat, it's not essential to use the belt. I would advise every Indian, for that matter, and particularly for children, young people who have long years of their life to serve the family and to serve the society, to use the seat belt, whether you are sitting in the front or whether you are sitting in the back.
Here with the CNN IBN's Drive Safe campaign, pedestrians, of course, are at a far greater risk of traffic rule violations, as Delhi's Joint Commissioner of Traffic, Anil Shukla. He spoke to Shubhajit Sengupta.
A large number of violations take place which include red light signal jumping. The other aspects are overspeeding. Drunken driving is another one, which is actually causing a lot of fatalities. Other than that, there are a lot of permit violations by various public service vehicles. So we have a large number of special drives which we carry out for road safety, for the safety of the individual, which include drunken driving, seat belt violation detection, triple riding, plus overspeeding. The largest number of people who are at the receiving end are the pedestrians. So there is a need that these spots, wherever it's required for a pedestrian interface, have to be separated or graded up or down. More than 300 people lose their lives on a daily basis. So there is a need for us to be sensitive about the rights of others, especially if you're in a heavy vehicle. The rules are not because a traffic policeman is there. The rules are because if we all comply with rules, it would be a much safer journey for us.
Rishi Raj Singh, Kerala Transport Commissioner, still with us from Trivandrum. Also with us, Piyush Tiwari, founder, member of Save Life Foundation. Mr. Rishi Raj Singh, you have, as far as drunken driving is concerned, you have been able to reduce it considerably, especially in a city like Trivandrum. How did you manage to do it?
We have procured the ultra-modern equipments and vehicles. For example, now Motor Vehicle Department has access to a vehicle called Interceptor, now which we have given to almost in every district. Now the drunken driving test has become very easy. Now we do not ask the person to, there used to be very old type of equipment earlier, where the person used to come near the equipment and he used to blow and he used to breathe heavily into the equipment, and then the result used to be sent for the laboratory, and it will take days together whether the person was drunk at that night or not.
Right.
All these things are now are in the past. Now we have a vehicle where there is an alcometer. The alcometer is the part of that interceptor where we only ask the person to just say his name and from where he is coming and where he is going.
Right.
So the instrument is so sensitive that right over there in the vehicle itself there is a printer, and the level of his drunkenness we are getting on the spot.
Right.
Now, you know that every person who is driving need not be under the influence of liquor. So if he is not under the influence of liquor, there is a certain percentage, that is, we call it 0.02 ppm.
Right.
Now you can, that is the level of liquor in your blood. If it is below the permissible limit, so the person is asked to continue with his visit,
right,
with his vehicle.
Right, sir.
If he is not, then right over there he is taken to the police station and the case is taken.
Right.
So with these measures we have been able to bring down the status of drunken driving very down.
Right, sir. Before I let you go, do you still get calls from powerful people to let some of those they know go? How do you handle that?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
You know, when you catch somebody who's drunken driving, and do you sometimes get calls from some powerful people to let him go?
No. As I told you, the half of the problems in Kerala is taken care of because all are educated.
Right.
I mean, those who are in public life, officers, the public, everybody knows that we are only doing our job. In the last 1 year of my job, I can assure you, nobody has even called us, nobody has even questioned what we are doing, because everything is as per law. So
right,
there are no pressure at all. I mean, these kind of things are not existing in Kerala state.
Right. So education is the answer. Mr. Rishiraj Singh, thank you so much for joining us, and hope you carry on the good work that you're doing there in Trivandrum, and hope many other states learn from you. With that, we are going into a short break. Coming up, a discussion on the lack of trauma care in the country. Here with CNN IBN Road Safety Campaign Drive Safe. Now to talk about trauma care or the lack of it in the country, which we severely need. Sahil Minghani joins us with Save the Life volunteers from Noida. Sahil, immediate first few minutes or the first hour, the golden hour, is very important, isn't it?
It is, Karma, and especially in a country like India, where in most of the cities you find congested areas, traffic jams, it assumes even greater importance. How many times do we hear an ambulance getting stuck in a traffic jam, and it makes a difference between life and death. And in that regard, rapid trauma care, providing immediate relief to a patient, is of critical importance. Imagine if you know some basics, if I know some basics, and if most of the citizens out there know some basics, immediate help can be provided. Working in that area extensively is Save Life Foundation, whose founder is in the studios, and with me is the Save Life team who is now going to demonstrate one of the ways how to lift a patient. Over to you, Save Life team. So what they are doing now is they are describing how to lift a patient. So it's a demo activity. It's a dummy who is lying there on the road. With me is also Rishika from Save Life Team Foundation, who's now going to explain the process. Rishika, what are the precautions that need to be taken in such an activity?
It is very much important that you take care of the neck and the spine of the person who is injured. So, and as you can see, that the person who is there is tying a neck collar on his neck so that it is not moved. And then it is very important that the quick care is given to them, right, within golden hour. The golden hour.
Okay, Rishika. Why is it important to hold the neck very critically?
See, neck is one of the most delicate part of the body, as you already know, and in case of Gopinath Munde also, his spine injury was found. So it is very important that we take care of neck, and neck care can be taken by a very simple process which our founder Mr. Piyush Tiwari has found. So what you need to do is you need to use a simple paper, fold it up and just tie it on the neck.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So Karma, one of the tips that we just learned was that you have to hold the neck very delicately. Over to you, Karma.
Sahil, I just want to ask you two questions. One, you know, when you're out on the road, what are the things you can use to secure a neck? Two, if you don't have a stretcher, they had a stretcher. If you don't have a stretcher, what can you do?
Okay, Rishika, in this activity we saw there is a stretcher. In case if there is no stretcher available to the citizens, what they should do then?
See, the first thing is calling the moment you see a victim, you have to make call.
Yeah.
The first call should be 100, and then the if you know if you know any person nearby who can give quick help, just call the person.
But at
ambulance
times
also, at times, yeah, we do understand that at times stretcher are not available. But in that case also, you need to give basic first aid. You will have to check the pulse of the person.
Right.
If the pulse is not working, start giving CPR there and then.
Right.
So and you have to continue this giving CPR till the time the help an ambulance or a help arrives.
Right, and if there is no stretcher and there is no way out, but a patient has to be lifted and shifted to a safe area, then what should be done? What are the basic precautions that need to be taken?
The most important precaution is that please do take spine and neck care. Neck is extremely important part of the body. The neck injury can't be seen. It can't be seen, but you never know if there is, in case of accident, the neck is an unseenable part. So when the car is moving, when it hits another car, that jhatka leads to neck injury.
A shock in the neck.
Yeah.
So Karma, one thing that we are learning from here is, in case if you don't have a stretcher, all you need to take care of is the neck. That's the most critical part, because that connects to your spine. So you have to keep the neck straight, as we saw in that activity. You have to use a paper, fold it, and give some balance to your neck. And as she said, give an immediate call to an ambulance and provide as much first aid as possible. That can only be done if you know the basics, and that is being done by Save Life Foundation.
Certainly. So CPR, of course, if you want to learn how to administer CPR, youtube.com. If you go to some of the hospital sites, there are also details as far as CPR is concerned. Spine and neck to take care of. Now I'm joined by Dr. Amit Gupta, additional professor at the Trauma Center at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Dr. Gupta and I have certainly worked on many of the road safety campaigns run by the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Sir, if you could just, we saw a little demonstration of the things that we need to take care of when we see a person lying on the road post an accident. What are the things that we need to take care, and how soon do we need to get him to the hospital? I guess that's a no-brainer.
Yes, Karma, thank you so much. But I just wanted to reiterate once again that if at all anybody from the public sees a road traffic accident victim lying on the road, the first thing should be that the body of the victim should be immediately taken over towards a safety zone or the safety area. It should not that you start the CPR or you start the resuscitation or anything you want to do on the road itself. So the first thing is to carry the body towards the footpath or towards the side of the road, and then the first reflex should be actually to call the ambulance services. Call for help. I mean, that's what we say, always call for help. And after that, you can stabilize the patient's body by, simply maybe tying his legs together, maybe rolling up a newspaper and applying it to the neck as a collar if you don't have anything. But again, if you see that somebody is bleeding from somewhere, the best way to stop external hemorrhage would be to actually apply a pressure bandage or anything which you have. You have a cloth, you have anything, just apply a tight pressure bandage over the wound. I think these 2 or 3 things, if somebody could do actually roadside, is more than sufficient to save a life.
Right, and sometimes, when you don't have any external injuries, you feel that, okay, that person is fine. And we often make the mistake of sending him back home or giving him a lift back home. That should not be done at all. Professor Amit? Okay, we seem to have lost him. We'll try and get in touch with him again. Piyush, that brings me to my crucial question, which we've talked about before. You know, people are scared of even administering first aid, you know, let alone put him in the car and take him to the hospital. How do we change that attitude? What are the laws protecting you and me, you know, if we come across a situation like this? I have had a situation where I called 100 for help, but after that, for a good 3-4 hours, they harassed me. They called me, where is the accident, what happened? They asked me for the location. So, you know, till 12, 1, 2 o'clock, I was answering calls of a local SHO.
That's right. The Law Commission of India states that about 50% of victims of road accidents in India who die currently die because of treatable injuries, which means about 70,000 people every year can be saved if they were to get even primary care on time. Now, there are various factors why victims don't get care, and one has to understand what the process of providing that care is. If you look at the entire process of you know, post-accident, what takes place, there are 3 crucial steps. The first is what happens to a victim while the victim is on the road, what happens during transportation, and what happens inside a hospital. The first part becomes very crucial because while the victim is lying on the road, bystanders and passers-by can play Good Samaritan and actually assist the victim, either by, you know, at the very least make a phone call to the police like what you did, or you know, if they are trained to provide care, then provide that important care. We conducted a national level study through a global research firm last year to understand why people in India don't come forward to help injured persons, as was stated by the Law Commission of India. And what we discovered was that that 3 out of 4 people would not come forward to help an injured person of a road accident if you know, even if there were other people around. And the reason behind that is 88% of them stated that they're afraid to come forward because of the fear of legal hassles. They're not saying that we will necessarily be harassed by the police, but what they're saying is that just the process of getting involved in that legal case, going to the court every year, and so on and so forth becomes a tremendous hassle. Now, at this point of time, there is absolutely no way, no system that protects people from any kind of these hassles, you know, when they come forward to help them.
Right.
So the solution is, and something that even developed countries that have a very advanced trauma care system have done, is to introduce a Good Samaritan law, which encourages people to come forward, convinces them that they will not be harassed if they do so, right, and you know, makes training of trauma care mandatory from the school level, so that the entire country is prepared. I'd like to give you a quick example if you have the time. In 2009, the Dutch Queen's cavalcade was attacked by a madman. He drove a car into the entire crowd, and 5 people were dead on scene, and the 7 who were grievously injured were actually saved by quick action of passers-by even before the first ambulance could make its way to the site.
Right.
So, and you know, even in Boston bombings, when the bomb blast took place, the immediate care was provided by bystanders, right, within the first 10 minutes, and that saved a tremendous number of lives.
So people need to step in, train themselves to treat trauma patients immediately, give them the first help that they need. Remember, 70,000 people could have been saved, and it could well have been you, me, or a person that you love dearly. So whenever you see an accident, it's time to step in and help in those times. Of course, we go into a break. Piyush, of course, turned citizen journalist earlier to highlight the need for a comprehensive national road safety. We'll leave you with this, come back with much more here on our campaign.
On 5th April 2007, my 16-year-old cousin Shivam was returning from school. As he tried to cross the road, he was hit by a car and left grievously injured. He waited for many minutes and asked for help from passers-by. People watched, but no one came forward. After waiting for 45 minutes, he gave up and passed away.
In 2008, a year after my cousin's death, I established the Save Life Foundation to improve road safety and emergency care across India. During the course of my research, I discovered that in 2007 itself, India has surpassed China to become world #1 in road accident deaths and continues to maintain that lead even today. Every 4 minutes, 1 person dies in India in a road accident, and 1 person every minute is left seriously injured or permanently disabled. In the past decade, over 1 million people have died in India in road accidents, and 5.5 million people have been left seriously injured or permanently disabled. Not just that, we also discovered two other things. India does not have a comprehensive framework to prevent road accidents, and neither does it have a proper way to provide emergency care to injured victims. And that is when we started working on these two areas, and we began by training police officers and volunteers in rescuing road accident victims. Today, in addition to that, Save Life Foundation is also working with various agencies, including state governments. We believe that the need of the hour is a comprehensive national road safety law that not only works to prevent road accidents, but also provides protection to those who come forward to help injured persons. You too can join us in this initiative to demand a comprehensive road safety framework for India by logging on to our website www.savelifefoundation.org or signing our petition at change.org/roadsafety. This is Piyush Tiwari, citizen journalist at CNN IBN.
You're watching Drive Safe, a CNN IBN campaign on road safety. I'm now joined by Mr. Alok Mittal, Commissioner of Police of Gurgaon. Thank you so much for joining us here on our campaign, sir. Majority of the accidents that we see...
Good morning. Thank you.
Morning, sir. A majority of the accidents that we see in Delhi or the NCR is also, due to over speeding. You have your traffic monitors, but what do you do when the drivers themselves, especially driving lorries and all, are not educated? They don't understand traffic rules because the roads are getting wider. We are getting, super highways, but the education level of drivers are still the same.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. In fact, the statistics show that most of the fatal accidents are caused by these heavy vehicles, goods vehicles. And the the largest chunk of victims belong to vulnerable road users, as we say. That means pedestrians and two-wheeler riders. And though on paper the conditions required for obtaining a heavy vehicle driving license are quite strict. One has to undergo detailed training before he gets a license. But somehow there are a lot of people who have managed to obtain license without actually undergoing any training and without actually understanding the basic traffic rules. And that makes driving on roads dangerous, more dangerous in our case.
Right. So what do you do when you catch a driver like this who's illegally, gotten his license? One, is it because he already has a license? Two, if you catch such a person, what do you do?
We, of course, whenever we catch a person, if it's a case of accident, we book him under IPC sections, and if we have challaned him for over speeding or for violating lane driving rules, then we challan them under MV Act. But the problem is, as we have pointed out earlier, that the quantum of punishment is not high to deter them from committing the same mistake again. And that is what we have been asking, that we have been demanding every time, that the MV Act, the Motor Vehicle Act, has to be very comprehensively amended in order to increase the penalties and the punishment, because there has to be a deterrence for the violators.
Right, sir. In Gurgaon, you've, with the citizens, you have got a number of pedestrian-linked initiatives, of course, to help them, secure them, like Rahagiri. Which I've heard of. How did this come about, and are you thinking of involving your citizens more when it comes, to enforcing traffic rules?
Yes, in fact, we have taken a number of initiatives in Gurgaon to improve road safety, to involve citizens of Gurgaon, and to involve various civil activist groups, NGOs. So there are 4 or 5 NGOs who are based out of Gurgaon. They and the Gurgaon police, we got together and we initiated Rahagiri, basically to reclaim streets for the pedestrians and for the cyclists. This has become a movement. It has become the most popular brand for Gurgaon. Lots and lots of people with their families come to Rahagiri every Sunday morning. Now it has been started, apart from the Sushant Lok area, it has been started in Palam Vihar area also. People have been very enthusiastically participating. The idea is to promote active commuting, to promote safe walkways, safe footpaths for the pedestrians, and a dedicated network of cycle tracks.
Right, cycle tracks, I hope, because I'm a cyclist myself. Thank you for that, and may you continue to, make roads safe for cyclists and also people who are walking, the pedestrians, more importantly. Thank you for joining us. With that, we go into a short break, but we'll have more here on CNN IBN. Up next at 10 a.m., we take up the issue of flaws in road design. Hello and welcome to CNN IBN's Road Safety Campaign Drive Safe. We are discussing the problems, the solutions here with the experts and more importantly, talking to you, the user. Look at the headlines this hour. 15 people die in road accidents every hour, the highest in the world, says WHO's latest survey. Union Minister Gopinath Munde's death putting the focus back on India's appalling safety standards. Potholes and faulty design are often the cause of serious accidents. In Mumbai, 3,800 crore rupees spent on potholes, but roads are still in bad shape. People have died in those accidents. And in Chennai, it's pedestrians versus hoardings. They are not only a menace to the common man, but also a traffic nightmare.
My name is Rakesh Singh. I have become citizen journalist today so that my son Akshay's death does not go in vain.
A father who lost his son in a road accident turns citizen journalist to fight the menace of overloaded trucks. And we'll also be taking your calls live. Do call us on 0120-434-1895. Join us at 10:30 a.m. with your calls. And I'm joined now by Piyush Tiwari, founder, member, Save Life Foundation. Also, Dr. S. Gangopadhyay, Director, Central Road Research Institute, joining us live from New Delhi. And Gangadhar Tilakatam, Chairman of, and he's a Shramdan and retired railway engineer, joining us from our Hyderabad studios. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Piyush, I'll start with you. We are talking about faulty road design, and often, in many cases, these are never taken into account when it comes to, road accidents.
Absolutely. The Government of India report states that about 7 to 8% accidents happen because of faulty road design. But that's really doubtful, because when accident investigation takes place, rarely does an investigating officer research or find out if road design flaws were responsible for that accident. So until we actually fix up the investigation process and incorporate investigation of road design and engineering flaws at the site of the accident, the real numbers would never come out. The second aspect of this is that the way our roads have been engineered and designed, they lead to a massive amount of conflict between road users. If you see in majority of our cities, you will find that the leftmost lane is shared by the cyclist as well as the bus. So you have the biggest motorized vehicle and the smallest non-motorized vehicle sharing the same space, which leads to tremendous conflict, and the smaller of the two often suffers tremendously as a result of that. Right.
Dr. Gangopadhyay, Piyush and I were talking about an incident where one person died because of a pothole. His bike met with an accident, then he was run over by a truck. The truck was at 40, no fault of the truck driver, but the truck driver was penalized. Nothing happens to the person who built the road or is responsible for the upkeep of the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, earlier whatever analysis we used to do, we never thought of the, bad roads or the, surface conditions of the roads. But the idea has been changing, lately, and it has been often observed that road design or the bad roads, considerably are responsible for, accidents and sometimes lead to fatality. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. And certain things that we always blame the road users, but it is not the actual thing that we should be doing. In fact, bad roads are definitely is a cause of concern for accidents and leading to fatality as well.
Right, certainly so. In fact, the visuals that we are playing are very, very interesting if you look at it properly. Piyush, most of these accidents, there seems to be a flaw with the way the drivers are taking on or approaching the road. So can we say that it could have been avoided if there was a better design?
Well, design is one of the factors, that's visible here. I think, given the tremendous amount of congestion we have on our roads, I think one thing that policymakers have to look at is how do we segregate the vulnerable road users from the heavy motorized transport? How do you segregate pedestrians? How do you segregate cyclists? How do you segregate motorcyclists from, speeding vehicles, higher power vehicles and bigger vehicles? And many countries have demonstrated that they can do that. Many developing countries have demonstrated. Before Olympics, China made significant changes to its road system to provide spaces for cyclists and pedestrians to operate. They made sure that no hawkers, no other kinds of people would occupy those spaces, and they'll be available for these vulnerable road users to use. So there are ways and means by which policymakers can take steps to address it. It requires a certain framework, and it requires political will to be able to do it.
Right, Mr. Gangadhar, what are the kind of changes you'd like to see on the roads? One, and how to make the person, civic agencies, responsible for an accident themselves. They should be charged as well if people die.
That's true, sir. Many of the accidents are happening due to the potholes, but unfortunately, on the records, nowhere they are recording. If an accident takes place due to a pothole, it is booked on something else. No police is prepared to book on the, in no FIR it is mentioned, it is due to the pothole or it is due to, and when an accident takes place really about this due to the bad road, the concerned engineers must be tackled, otherwise this will continue forever. We cannot rectify our roads. This is only mere negligence we are seeing it. Now many places for doing some work, they are digging the road and leaving half completed without filling it back properly. So that is causing accident. This is due to the mere negligence. So many cases we are seeing like that. And suddenly some pothole is developing due to the bad quality of the road. There also when some accident take place, we are not fixing the concerned engineers. So it is going on prolonging like that. Unless we start booking the case in the same FIR, if it is due to the bad road or due to the pothole, there must be a provision to mention in the FIR. Unless we start that one, we cannot bring it to the end. This will continue like this without punishing the concerned engineer who is responsible for this.
Right.
But in the city I am seeing many potholes we are seeing, but they are not taking any proper care to fill them before the rainy season comes. They are simultaneously doing while the rains are coming, and it is getting spoiled with no time. Its longevity is not available.
Right.
And daily so many vehicles, trucks are moving for filling the potholes, and nobody knows, no transparency. If the transparency is there, we can definitely control the potholes, because many trucks are moving for filling the potholes, but still thousands of potholes. Daily, every city is waking up with thousands of potholes. Where these vehicles are going and where it is they are filling it up. As far as the cities are concerned, this in every city in our nation, we can control these potholes very well just by keeping the transparency and about the watch on the movement of these vehicles, where they are going and filling daily.
Right. Piyush, you wanted to make a point. Will we ever see an FIR where it's written death due to bad roads or death due to potholes, and naming the civic engineer responsible for the upkeep of that stretch?
Well, there are three things that need to be done. The first thing is that the road design guidelines which are issued in India by the Indian Road Congress don't have any statutory backing. It is not mandatory to follow those guidelines. They are merely guidelines. So the first thing is they have to be given statutory backing. The second thing is that the accident investigation process needs to be consistent and defined to be followed across the country, and it must incorporate the aspect of faulty road design and engineering. The third thing is that, and it's a question that I want to ask to civic agencies and to our policymakers, is that why is it not possible that a road which is constructed in India, have a guarantee to survive for a period of 3 years? And if it has a guarantee, and if it has a warranty attached to it, let the contractor, fix the road if it gets potholes, if it gets problems within that that 3-year period at their own cost. And if we do that, there will be no incentive for contractors to build bad roads,
right?
Because then they will not be able to get contracts again and again, after every 6 months to fix those roads. So, and I believe it is possible. Mr. Nitin Gadkari has announced day before yesterday that India will get a stronger road safety law on international standards. And if he is to be believed, then that law should have many of these statutes where road owners and engineers should be held accountable for the condition of our roads today.
Yeah, that'll be very important if the government has the will and can bring that policy forward. Dr. Gangopadhyay, do you see a move like that, a 3-year guarantee on the road coming? Because, there will be a lobby and they will try to oppose it because they have the money.
Yeah, actually, you are right, but I don't think that money will play a role here. But because we are talking about the human lives, we are talking about this, very important thing, which is actually sort of a disease, like cancer or TB. Road safety issue is like that. So therefore, I fully believe that actually we should work out the formula that where the road should be, durable till 40 years. Why it should be for 10 to 15 years or 20 years? And in US they are trying very hard. If you look at the Federal Highway Administration, they are doing it that if you look at the life cycle of the road, and it should be most maintenance free and it should be, durable for the next 40 years. And I fully agree that if there is some fault or potholes developed within 6 months or 1 year or even 3 years,
right,
within the warranty period that we can talk about, then the engineer or the concerned department should be booked. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
Right.
That law should come.
Right, certainly very good point. Gentlemen, we'll keep talking on this big issue. Going to a break, but with a powerful message. In an effort to make Indian roads safer for people, Rakesh Singh turned citizen journalist to fight the menace of overloaded trucks plying on Indian roads. This after his son Akshay was mowed down by an overloaded truck in Bijnor. Now this in 2009. Here's his citizen journalist report.
My name is Rakesh Singh. I have become citizen journalist today so that my son Akshay's death does not go in vain. My son was mowed down by an overloaded truck in 2009 in Bijnor. Immediately after that, the police, in no time in fact, had arrived, but police did nothing to catch the truck. The police failed to pursue the case beyond filing the FIR. They just said they could not trace the truck. So I took it upon myself to catch the accused driver. For more than a week, I stalled all my work and traveled in trucks plying in Bijnor. I spent days eating at different dhabas to find the truck and driver responsible for my son's death. I interacted with many truckers and was shocked to hear what they said. They had no sympathy or sense of guilty for crushing innocent to death. I found that many drivers do not have valid driving license. Now I came to know that they get driving license only for ₹100 from RTO Dalals. I eventually got success. I was able to track down driver as well as the truck along with documentary evidence that how this truck was carrying 45-ton load against permitted load of 15 ton. Though the Bijnor police arrested the driver Ravinder Kumar, however, he was eventually granted bail by Allahabad High Court. I even got the conductor and the present driver of the truck on camera talking about the case. My question is, how it is possible that the state machinery could not do what I managed to do myself? This is Rakesh Singh, citizen journalist from CNN IBN.
You would see in IBN's road safety campaign, Drive Safe. Dr. Harshvardhan, Health and Family Welfare Minister, now joining us live. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are really sorry about your loss. Most of the people who've come on the show, some of them who've lost their near and dear ones, have come in and joined the fight against to make the roads of India safe. You've also made all the positive noises saying that yes, rear seat belts should be made mandatory. What are the things that you are planning to do on your part as a government, sir?
You see, I think this issue of road safety and use of the rear seat belt came into limelight only recently, and it has come in the past also, but I think I made sure that this issue is highlighted to the maximum possible extent, and then it's converted into a massive mass media campaign and campaign through all possible means to basically educate people about the importance of seat belts, and not only the front seat belt but the rear seat belt also, because most of the people feel that the rear seat belt is only for a decorative purpose. But death of Mr. Gopinath Munde, and I remember in the past we lost our Chief Minister also in a road accident, and at that time also it was my opinion that probably if he was wearing a seat belt even while he was sitting on the back, I don't really remember what was his location at that time, but the seat belts actually can make a difference, because the way Mr. Gopinath Munde died, just because of the sheer impact of a trivial trauma, he got his liver injured, it was profusely bleeding, and he got his fracture of the cervical 1 and cervical 2, that's called the atlantoaxial joint, resulting in injury to the spinal cord and the vertebral artery, and compromising the blood supply to the brain stem, resulting in cardiac arrest as well as stoppage of his respiration. So I would appeal to all the countrymen, please take seat belt as your friend. Seat belt can save your life. Seat belt can be crucial in your life. At one point of time, not using it can even take your life. So please utilize this opportunity. The cars have been designed like this to ensure your safety. And it is not only because of the law that you should wear a seat belt. I think otherwise also
for your safety, for your safety.
For your safety.
So one question really, is it also time for VVIPs to think? Because I'll give you an example. Yesterday just outside office there's a crossing, and most of the cars were moving at least, I would say, 60 plus kilometers per hour. And suddenly from the right, I would assume a VIP person, because he had an escort, he had to cross the road. One guard, not even from the police, not a traffic police, a guard came to the middle of the road and tried to stop all the cars on the highway and then let this VVIP car pass, which was dangerous not just for that guard. I'm sure he's the sole bread owner. He could have been killed in that high-speed corridor, one, and also for the VVIP and also other people who are driving on that road. Is it time for VVIPs also to think?
I fully endorse and appreciate and respect what you are saying, and I thoroughly endorse your sentiment, which is probably everybody's sentiment, and I think it should be the sentiment of the so-called VVIP also. I think by and large the VVIPs can also move like normal citizens, and at least such situations can always be avoided. The training programs have to be devised like this, and instructions have to come from the top. And I think I can promise that things will certainly change for the better in times to come. Our Prime Minister has a slightly different approach to these very important things. And I think we are all thinking on the same wavelength as you are thinking.
Certainly.
We'll certainly try to change the culture of the country.
Certainly. Sir, I also have a person who's been working tirelessly, to make Indian roads safe. Piyush Tiwari is the founder member of Save Life Foundation. He has a question for you. Piyush?
Good morning, sir. So my question to you is that, road accidents have taken away about 1 million lives in the last decade. Just like you eradicated polio, do you think you'll be able to eradicate road accident deaths from India as well?
I can't say if I will be able to eradicate, but I can only say that I have that desire and spirit and the intention. My intention is very clear that we have to do the maximum, and I appreciate the contribution of people like you, and we would like people like you and other organizations in the voluntary sector to work closely with the government and particularly the health ministry to help us in generating mass awareness in the society. We will see that all possible rules they are also looked at once again after so many years. And then you see, most of the things here can be achieved with the help of education, which I feel must start from the schools, it must go into the colleges, and it must be part of the campaign drives done by the various NGOs, not only working in the health sector but everywhere. I'm sure in times to come we should have better results. I have the desire to be able to, if not eradicate, at least control these road accidents to a significant extent.
Right.
The data that you are saying are, I think, frightening.
So just since you are in the government and you will know people who matter and you can spread this message, we'd just like to, bring in this important report that my colleague has filed. Many accidents, of course, can be avoided if we can combat the menace of drunken driving. Shubhajit Sen Gupta went out on the roads of the national capital past midnight to find out how many pickets were there to check drunken driving, and Mr. Harshvardhan, he didn't find many, so that is the worry. I'll come back and ask that question to you.
It's past 12 o'clock on a Friday night and we are at Connaught Place. We've been traveling on the streets of Delhi for the last 2.5 hours. And in spite of the fact that it's a Friday night, which is known to have more traffic accidents, especially due to drunken driving, we've hardly seen any pickets around. But here we've seen barricades have been put up, but no one is there per se to check whether the drivers who are coming in, driving late night and high speed on these roads are drunk or not. Drunken driving remains one of the prime reasons. Yet, on the streets of Delhi, not even a week since the death of Gopinath Munde in a road accident took place, we hardly see any checks going on in the streets. That is something which the Delhi needs to do, the police needs to enforce in order to ensure that no one gets hurt on the streets of Delhi.
Certainly very important, Dr. Harshvardhan. I don't want to be caught, because I don't intend to drive after drinking. But would you put in a word, to have perhaps more pickets? Because Shubhajit is worried maybe Friday, we could Friday night, Saturday night, we could have more pickets.
You see, my first intention is, I am a doctor. I feel that prevention is better than cure. Certainly we should have more pickets rather than catching those who are indulging in drunken driving through more pickets. I would advise people at least to take a relook at their drinking habit, because as a doctor I can tell you that, like tobacco, alcohol can also kill you at the end of the day, because 1/3 of the people who take alcohol, they are bound to develop liver disease, which can be fatal in their life. Other 1/3 could be developing a disease of the pancreas, or maybe many other diseases in the system.
But I can do it
alcohol
with moderation,
and tobacco
isn't it, sir?
will ultimately I don't think alcohol in any form can be useful, tobacco in any form can be useful. They will ultimately drive you towards the road to death. So I would ask people to have a relook at their drinking habit, and at least make sure that even if they have done it by mistake, or maybe if they are not able to control it, they should never resort to drunken driving. And of course then it becomes the duty of the police to have these massive checks all over the city all the time, especially in the night, so that there is a loud and clear message that we will not tolerate nonsense, right. We will not tolerate breaking of rules.
Right, a message coming in from the doctor himself. Don't drink at all if you can. Even if you do it, have a driver handy. Thank you so much, Dr. Harshvardhan, for joining us. We certainly hope you will carry the message forward and make roads in India a little bit more safer for all of us, for you and for me. We'll be You're watching Drive Safe, CNN IBN campaign. We're joined now by Kiran Bedi, former IPS officer, social activist, who is not just has a wealth of experience in enforcing, but also has been able to change the mindsets of people by making them understand what they can do for the society. She'll be joining us also with us here in the studio. Piyush Tiwari, founder, member, Save Life Foundation. He's been with us throughout. And Arnab Bandyopadhyay, senior transport engineer at the World Bank. He's the road safety coordinator as well. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us. We'll start with our callers right away. I'm told we have a caller from Chennai. Good morning. Go ahead, Harish.
Hi, good morning, Karma. This is Harish from Chennai. I'm a huge fan of your show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for putting up this topic, because it's perhaps the one huge topic that's terribly underrated and discussed. The point that I want to make is that I think this is probably synonymous of a whole other problem, Karma, that of absolute lack of progress on the judicial reforms front. If we are able to figure out a way in which we need to have a much better, robust judiciary, then all the problems that we are likely to discuss today would get automatically addressed.
Right.
For example, the holes on the road. For example, the corrupt RTOs, the corrupt police, if you will. Just about anyone who is not going, including the corrupt common man, average people like me and anyone else on the road. If none of us are going to fear the law at the end of the day, I think that no system is possible to take off and function effectively. What we need in this country at this point in time is absolute reforms at the judicial level. I hope that the honorable government right now takes that position as well, and hopefully sorts this issue out.
Right. Thank you. And I'm glad you accept that, yes, we are also a part of the problem. I'll take that question right away to the person who's definitely can answer that. Ma'am, Kiran Bedi joining us. Ma'am, go ahead. Your answer to this question. Judicial reforms.
Absolutely, Harish is right. We need to have two things, fear and respect. How do we enhance fear in the minds of the traffic violators? That there's a higher possibility of getting caught. Once caught, the punishment is so tough that you may lose your license, or you'll be punished, which pinches your pocket hugely, or you're putting on a suspension. So there's an element of fear which must come expeditiously on the spot, as much as possible on the spot. That's why you need mobile magistrates with cameras, with evidence, with control room use of technology. Second is internal respect for law, that I have to be law-abiding, and if I'm law-abiding, I'm taking care of others' safety. And if others are law-abiding, they're taking care of my safety. We need to do all that raises fear and also respect. Now, respect is our responsibility to be law-abiding, and fear is something external which is in the hands of authorities, and of which he's mentioned courts. Now, courts can be distant and courts can be mobile on the spot. I am for use of technology, on the spot fining, so that no time is lost either way.
Right. We have Madhav Surya also calling in from Hyderabad. Good morning, Madhav. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, good morning. Apart from the courts and all, there are some root causes which I think are very important. One is town plannings across the country. Most of them claim that they want to make cities like Singapore, Hong Kong and Shanghai. They are very crowded. In fact, that root causes the town planning department should design the towns in such a way that the crowds get distributed. And second, I find is the planning level, the corporate affairs ministry should indicate all companies to have some planning exercise done. So delivery of goods from place to place, we find very stringent, like, tomorrow morning we want material in Pune. So there is no planning in the entire companies. That needs to be cultivated.
Right, so planning needs to be cultivated.
And third is, I find that the films are influencing vehicles to be driven fast.
Right.
Doom 1 and Doom 2, and now we are in a very doomed situation. That the film censor board need to de-glamorize driving fast, and also in the area of drinking.
Right.
Any problem in the films they show that they have to drink and then the problem gets solved.
Okay, interesting issues that you've raised. Certainly, as far as the fast-moving bikes are concerned, we've seen the result here in Delhi with many gangs moving around at night, even doing stunts around India Gate. Praful joining us from Kerala. Praful, go ahead. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Sir, all now has 1 meter system are taking place. That is, so this city process is the last driving standard as airline and same Kerala. There was no way.
Okay, I'm afraid I can't make out what you're saying. We'll try to connect with you again. It seems there is a problem with the audio. Dr. S. Gangopadhyay, Director of the Central Road Institute, was there earlier. We'll try to connect with him as well. Piyush is here with us. Piyush, as far as the design flaws that our caller was talking about, the onus is always on the user, isn't it? The onus should be on civic agencies also, like we were talking about before.
Absolutely. I think, many policymakers actually put the onus on the public. They say that the public should care about their well-being and so on and so forth, which is true, which I think is a part of the, the education process. But I think the policymakers can't shy away from their responsibility of actually building safer systems, stringent laws, and I think making sure that there are enough institutional systems available for implementation of those laws and policies. Just like one caller mentioned about overspeeding and glamorizing speed and so on and so forth. Something that many countries, including Singapore, have done is that they have graded licenses based on the complexity of the vehicle. So if you're driving an 800cc car, you'll have a grade A license. If you're driving a higher complexity car, then you'll have a grade B license, and then a supercar or a super bike will require a grade C license. And to get those licenses is very, very tough. So I think unless we build in certain systems that will ensure that we control the quality of drivers that are coming on our roads, putting onus on the public alone will not really help.
Arnab, you want to make a quick point?
Yeah, just I wanted to add, the world has actually moved to a safe system approach. And at the heart of that safe system is an assumption that the road users are fallible, they are vulnerable, they will make mistakes.
Right.
So how to actually protect and forgive those mistakes? So that's why I think the system is a forgiving system. It's a kind of a forgiving highway, it's a forgiving traffic management system. And we need to move towards that. If people will overspeed, but how do you then actually control overspeeding? Through enforcement, maybe through physical restraints also.
Right.
So you can, on highways, you can have rumble strips, you can have a lot of active measures, not only just some passive signages.
But our highways right now are not forgiving.
Our highways are not at all forgiving.
Okay, we're joined by Mahesh Iyer from Mumbai. Good morning, Mahesh. Go ahead.
Good morning to everybody. I come from Dubai. I'm watching this. I'm feeling very sad that one of our leaders died. Okay, of the road accident. But the main thing is, we are not learned for the last 60 years where this country has to go towards. Because the main thing is, the automobile industry has grown, but the road has not grown according to the automobile industry growth. Okay, I want to give you 2-3 points here, to be very precise, because I have got an international experience, driving 12 years in Dubai, okay, where we are going wrong. Not going wrong, actually where we have to update ourselves. First thing is, the trainers who are training the learners be trained. Okay. Because they are the main first people, okay, who are in the system. Okay.
Yes.
It is in the grassroots. When I want to take a license, I go to a training school. That trainer has to be trained. Okay. It is not just a off-copy text, a driving license, you start training others. Okay. This is very important thing. And nobody is talking about that. Nobody is talking about that. That should be an examination for a trainer.
Okay.
Okay. No, it's a very important thing. Top officials, everybody is talking. Nobody is talking about that. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two is, I want to say here is very important is lane discipline.
Okay, lane discipline, yeah.
Lane discipline is a very important subject.
Yes.
Government has failed in that, where the heavy vehicle has to go, where the fast vehicle has to go. If you are having 4 lanes, 5 lanes, 3 lanes, where it has to go, there should be a marking there. Okay. And heavy vehicles should not cross.
Okay, and the third point, Mahesh, we are running out of time.
An important, very important point I want to say here, a very important point is,
quickly.
See, let us not get into this deviation of somebody is telling the road, the car has crossed the red light. That is a very important thing, lane discipline. He has failed in that.
Discipline,
He
okay.
has crossed the red light.
Okay. Thank you, Mahesh, for joining us. Very useful. Ma'am, Kiran Bedi, if I could bring you in. Corruption in the RTO, that's one of the biggest problems, one. And also, you know, with the kind of, there's no central regulation of the driving license. Today, most of us can get one license in Uttar Pradesh, one license in Bihar, one from, say, Manipur or Arunachal, and have multiple licenses. That is possible because there's no centralization. Would centralization help?
Yes, there needs to be a national registry. We need to have a fingerprint detection. We need to greatly use technology. These solutions are cost effective and they can be brought about, and I see the government of India now moving towards it. I saw Mr. Gadkari talking about a national registry number, and also you know, even the violations are then a part of the computerization by fingerprint, by biometrics, one number, so that the, as very rightly said, that they one license lost or confiscated, somebody doesn't come up with another state license and another, and many drivers do keep 3 to 4 licenses with them, because a policeman confiscates one, he has another to drive by. We have to check this. And even violations, somebody has committed violations, another state police does not know the track record of the driver. We need to get into greater use of technology. But even the corruption at the transport departments, make as much as possible online, and finally coming on, and everything on camera. Your test is on camera, you can detect the mistakes you made, so the discretion is minimized. I think we need to greatly bring in more transparency by use of technology, and also by national registry, and also, as I said, documentation of their traffic violations. At the moment when I catch a traffic violator, I have no clue what have been his past offences. So I think we need to greatly, even the highways need to be covered by cameras, by centralized control rooms. You don't see a cop on the western roads, not a cop, but you create a violation, you're caught within 5 minutes, because there's something through the computer which is getting directed.
Certainly.
India can do this.
Certainly, bringing in technology, bringing in technology is what...
save thousands and thousands of lives.
Yes, ma'am.
Technology is the key.
Technology is certainly a key. Ma'am, stay with us because we're going to a very short break. We'll come back and take more of your questions here, so do call us. You're seeing an IBN special campaign on road safety. Let's get in our correspondent Anna Isaac with more. Anna?
You know, pedestrian safety is a big concern here in Chennai. In fact, the highest number of victims are pedestrians and two-wheelers. So if my camera person can just pan and show you exactly what the pedestrians have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. In fact, the Chennai Corporation is relaying one such pavement here. But the problem is that while they are relaying this pavement, much of the rubble is on the road. The pavement is dug up, and it forces pedestrians to actually walk on the middle of the road, and it thereby reduces their safety levels. I have with me one such pedestrian. Gautam, tell us what is a common problem that pedestrians like you face?
In most of the areas in Chennai, there is no proper pedestrian path, and even if it is there, it's much used only by the roadside vendors. So we have to use the road to walk, and this increases the risk of accidents. We get hit by the car and the vehicle's side mirrors and arms, and obviously leads to injury. And even if the path is there, it's not maintained in a hygienic way. It becomes unhygienic. Some people use the split their gutka, whatever stuff they use, they make it, they fill it up with the garbage and make it hygienic to use. So this is one major thing.
Encroachment is a big problem here in Chennai. I have with me Mr. Balchan Parayat, who is an activist. He works with Chennai City Connect, an NGO that deals with urban town planning. So tell us, what can we do to ensure pedestrians are safe here?
Several things have to be done. The Corporation of Chennai is doing a lot of work in terms of improving the walkability on footpaths, by designing it better. They are making it wide enough for people to walk. And till recently, the thought used to be make the roads wider, and the pedestrian used to be almost forgotten. That's turned around, and thanks to the efforts of various governmental agencies, you see some roads in the city are being designed properly with adequate footpaths, which are properly surfaced and things like that, which is a good step. However, there are several other things which have to be also looked at. One is the entire licensing process. Why I say that is a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler driver gets his license without a formal training. And so he doesn't know the rules of the road, he breaks rules, he finds the smallest crevice and he drives through it. And the person who is worst affected is the poor pedestrian. If you see an average road in the city, almost a fourth of the road is used by either vendors, encroachers, and the pedestrian is exposed to the vagaries of traffic. So the reason, enforcement is a very key issue, because unless that is done regularly, it's not that you enforce it once and forget it. It has to be done continuously, because these shops mushroom overnight, and unless these are removed, you will find that pedestrians cannot use the footpath. Okay. And we need to also keep in mind the physically challenged. It's extremely difficult under the circumstances for them. So unless all these fall into place, you can't really minimize road accidents for pedestrians.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So encroachment and enforcement is a big way in reducing or increasing pedestrian safety.
Right, Anna, thanks for that. Certainly many questions as far as pedestrians are concerned. With that, we go into a short break. Be back with your questions. So do join us. Call us on our numbers here. You're watching Drive Safe, a CNN IBN campaign. That's the top focus here on the channel. Look at the headlines.
I would appeal to all the countrymen, please take seatbelt as your friend.
That's Health Minister Harshvardhan's message to the country via CNN IBN's road safety campaign. Union Minister Gopinath Munde's death putting the focus back on India's appalling safety standards. Ahead on the show, we'll also be looking at some of the better road safety campaigns from around the world and why India and its media are not doing enough. Another concern, the rise in cases of car fires. A recent one claims lives of two specially abled siblings in the capital. We'll be looking at that big question.
Hi, I'm Mavis Russell. I lost my son on this expressway, Delhi-Gurgaon expressway. I've turned citizen journalist today to tell you how this expressway has become a death trap for hundreds of lives lost in the year.
Mavis Russell turned citizen journalist after a 30-year-old son loses his life in a road accident. We'll be telling you about her story ahead. The question we are asking, is India doing enough to educate people on road safety? Can it be done more? We'll take a look at some of the better road safety campaigns from around the world.
Now, this young woman landed here with serious head injuries. Following the huge force that threw her over 6 metres. From the impact here, we can work out she was hit at 32 kilometres per hour by analysing the car and these tyre marks. So he started braking here and first saw her when he was travelling at 65. But let's change one small thing. Now he's doing 60 when he sees her. This time, he hits her at only 5 kilometres per hour. She'd just have a bruised leg. And we'd never have been called to this incident.
Hey, what you doing?
What?
Your seatbelt, idiot. Put it back on.
You're right, there's no cops around. I won't get caught.
Well, he got caught good and proper. 6 feet under. You want to end up there?
Okay. Yeah, I get the point.
Thanks, bro. I'd hate for something to happen to you. Whoa!
Shelter and save your life.
Let's get in our experts now. Joining us from Mumbai, Shapur Kotwal, Deputy Director, Autocar India. Shapur, it's interesting, isn't it, looking at the campaigns globally that go on. You know, we've been watching some of those campaigns since yesterday, especially in New Zealand and Australia. The quality of campaigns, we here in India, including CN and IBN, not doing enough, you know, when it comes to spending on road safety ads are concerned.
I would say we are way back. I think we are in the dark ages as far as road safety is concerned. So, you know, looking at one beautifully made campaign, of course it is brilliant and it would work here. But we need to look at the whole universe. You know, it includes driver training, it includes road safety, it includes road conditions, it includes policing, it includes attitudes, fines, all this. So we need to look at the whole environment, take all these universes, put them together, and then immediately we can have something that's much safer. So that awareness is not there. You know, today we are only looking at small parts of the puzzle and we're never going to get the whole picture.
Right. And Arnab, the only campaign that I can specifically remember is of the helmet campaign, you know, with the coconut and the hammer, which created some traction, which made a person like me think when I was in school. But after that, we have absolutely nothing.
Not definitely, you are right. Not at a national level. I mean, we had a for non-smoking, we had a big campaign nationwide, and the effectiveness was definitely, we could see that the smoking in the public place has really come down. So there are 2-3 things actually. For designing a campaign, we need also very good data, you know, and which we do not have, because essentially a campaign has to be targeted. So we need to know that what are the behavioral issues which we need to target, which population group, whether you know, the school children are affected, or the college going you know, children, or they are affected. So I think that we lack, particularly to do adequate research before we launch a campaign. And second is, the campaigns have to be sustained. You know, we cannot just do a campaign for a week or for a day. It has to be run for a long time. I mean, you were talking about New Zealand. They had run the campaign for almost 10 years.
Right. Shravan also joining us live from Mumbai. Shravan, certainly Mumbai is, you know, one city where awareness is needed across, isn't it? But we don't see all the hoardings that you have around, either for airlines, either for clothes brands, or something else. Nothing as far as road safety is concerned.
That's right, Karma. As far as road safety is concerned, Mumbai certainly falls short. When you're talking about the kind of hoardings that is just the hoardings that is here in Mumbai, which actually takes away the space when it comes to even the road area. But one very important point, Karma, is the fact is that you look at the kind of traffic density that Mumbai actually has, and that's one big problem. I'll just get a quick solution as to how can one address this particular problem. Joining me right now is Mr. Ashok Datar. He's an expert in this particular field. Mr. Datar, this is one big problem when it comes to Mumbai. That is, when you talk about traffic density. What is the best way of optimizing this issue, and how do you look forward?
Yeah, actually, because if you add more roads, it doesn't solve the problem, it increases the problem. Like we have added Eastern Freeway. Now that means a lot more vehicles have started coming in now, which were not earlier coming. That becomes worthwhile. Now if you add another coastal road, another spending 10,000 crore rupees and create a link outside the island city, forget about the environmental problems that it has, which are quite big, I don't want to undermine. But in addition to that, it only brings more vehicles. The kind of projects that we do, it invites more vehicles. All the flyovers, they invite more vehicles, so that within a short time, you get into the same old equation and more, because all the vehicles need to be parked somewhere. For example, our study has shown during last 8 years, the parking on the road has increased by 400%. 400% in last 7 years alone. Because every vehicle requires 3 parking spaces. So if you add 10% of vehicles and 0% of population, so don't blame the population. Blame the vehicles, because they take a lot of space. So it is, in Mumbai, it is all about space.
Also, Mr. Datar, which basically boils down to the fact is, what about the transportation system? Yes. In Mumbai, that is a big issue. You talk about the BST buses, many wouldn't want to take it with the kind of services that the BST provides. So is the answer to a good transportation system, is that what will actually help Mumbai?
Yeah, very true, very true. The point is that the best performance has been deteriorating. I would not put the blame on best itself. What is happening, buses need space, every vehicle needs space, and if all that space is occupied by the parked vehicles, there is no chance for buses to survive. Because now it takes at least 50% more time to use by bus. So people think that I can save that time by using my car. By my solution of using the car, I am making the problem for all other Mumbaians more difficult. So this has been the peculiar situation in Mumbai, so that everybody tries to find a solution which is good for himself, becomes a bad solution for the city as a whole. So it is necessary that people must be restrained in using the road space. If you have got only 1.5 person using a car, which requires clearances and all that, of 20 square meters, or for parking it takes 8 square meters of parking space. So all the kind of space that we are using for the vehicles, that allows no chance for buses to survive. Solution by improving a kind of a bus lane is ideal in Mumbai more than any other city. So, but if you just provide a space, it will not cost any money, it will cost few months, not like 10,000 crores for metro or freeway.
So, clearly, Karma, if you look at it, there are issues when it comes to the Mumbai roads about the kind of vehicular density that actually Mumbai roads actually sees on a daily basis. So certainly what the government will have to look at is improving the transportation system so that at least vehicular use is reduced over a period of time.
Of the roads, killer potholes as we called them before. I have Dr. Rohit Baluja, President, Institute of Road Traffic here in our Noida studio. So we were talking earlier about these potholes and how in an FIR, if a person dies, because of a pothole, it's not mentioned that the person died because of a pothole. The accident was because of the pothole. And also responsibility on the civic agencies or the contractor responsible for the upkeep of that road. Do we ever see this happening?
Unfortunately not. The first thing is that India doesn't have a scientific accident investigation system. The police don't believe in it. They always book the vehicle and the heavy vehicle. For 140,000 people or 2.6 million people, I do not see even a single road engineer or a road authority being booked for murder. And there must be at least 20% of the deaths happening because of faulty roads, unworn roads. You have a pothole. Right. And there are two-wheelers over it, there is water in it, and the two-wheeler trips in it, falls, dies, he is booked as irresponsible driving.
Right.
Road authorities must be booked for murder. They must be booked for murder. Faulty roads, wrong road signages, wrong road markings, faulty road geometrics. This is one of the biggest problems. In Delhi itself, let us take that there is almost 40% of road signages, signals and road markings are not as per standards.
40%.
And there is nobody responsible, nobody taking the responsibility of the environment failures of road accidents. 5 years ago, we did a study to find that in Delhi, 146 million traffic violations take place every day because of by motorists, and 23% of these violations were because of faulty road environment.
No, 146 million every
million violations every day by motorized traffic.
Every day?
Yes, and this
146 million.
Yes, and this report was presented to the government of Delhi, and the government of Delhi agreed to it, and they took action over it. And this is growing much more. It would be at least about 180 million today. Police record only 1% or 0.1% of it, but the
two
problem
figures
is
that have astounded me today. 146 million road violations in Delhi in a single day, not a year, not a month, but a single day. Other, of course, we'll talk about it later, is the amount that truck drivers pay on bribes. That's about 22,000 crore rupees. That's just on highways. We have a caller, Sanjeev, joining us from Bangalore. Hi, Sanjeev. Good morning. Go ahead. What do you have to say?
Good morning. I have two questions.
Yes.
One, why is it that the seat belt is mandated only for cars and not for other heavy, any other heavy vehicles, four-wheelers?
Okay.
Question number two. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Question number two. I think whatever is our budget on fuel, if 2% that is used in road safety and traffic sense, I'm sure all our vehicle efficiency will be by 10%.
Okay.
That will be a saving for the nation.
Okay, thanks, Sanjeev. I think you're getting a call on the other line, so you go back to that. Arnab, if I can bring you in about the question on seat belts first.
I will actually take the second question, and perhaps I request Mr. Baluja to take the first question. He would be a better person.
We have the laws are there. In the rule of Central Motor Vehicle rules said that you have to wear a seat belts in the front seats as well as the rear seats facing the seat forward. It also prescribes a seat belt for the bus driver, and the person who's sitting in the front seats. It prescribes also for the truck driver. So, but we don't have seat belts for bus passengers, but that's primarily a second question. But at this moment we have a law in place.
Okay.
On this issue of financing, that's a very good actually suggestion. In fact, Kerala is the only state which has established a road safety fund. So what it does is they also have a road fund where the proceeds from the taxes on fuel that go, and as well as registration charges, vehicle registration charges, and some part of the penalties, they actually go to that road safety fund, and they have created an authority, an independent authority, which actually manage that fund.
Right.
So
Okay.
there is an example which can be actually replicated elsewhere in India.
Certainly. So we already have an example, can be replicated across the country. Swaminathan joining us from Mumbai. Hi, good morning. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Swaminathan.
Yes.
Okay. See, when we were in this, when we were in the school, we had something called Indian Red Cross Society was conducting short-term courses and granting certificates to students on first aid. The Indian Red Cross Society used to conduct for the students a course on first aid, and they used to grant us certificates, which I also have one. And I think everybody seems to have forgotten what is Indian Red Cross Society, because nobody knows what exactly it is today and what purpose it is for.
Okay.
Why can't the schools restart this particular exercise with the Indian Red Cross Society? Educate the students on the first aid, number one. Number two is lane discipline is one thing which doesn't exist at all anywhere in India, wherever we have traveled. And people just, red light, I think everybody seems to be having a problem with color vision, because everybody red light they look at as green light and they just start moving. Okay, and the most important thing is I just saw Kiran Bedi making a mention saying that this national registry, when a country like China can grant an identity card to each and every individual without which they can't move anywhere within the country, why can't India do that?
Right, great suggestions. Thank you for joining us. We have another caller now. Ramakrishna from Mysore. Hi, Mr. Ramakrishna. Go ahead. What's your question?
Good morning, everybody. By using their good influence, MPs and MLAs are giving the road contracts to their followers only. Nobody supervises properly whether the contractor did their job in a proper way or not. In the allotted money, only 40 to 50% is spent to the roads. The rest of the money, where it goes, nobody knows. No corporation official or engineers are not bothered to inspect the roads which are in horrible conditions. And the horrible humps are put in national highways. It is very bad humps they are putting. Even for the citizens, for water connections and all, the concerned corporation or municipalities are actually collecting the money from the public, but even after 6 or 7 months, the roads will be in the same condition. Nobody fills the gap. This is also causing for the accidents.
Right. You want to start with the contractors? Should they be made responsible?
Absolutely, absolutely. Once you have a scientific investigation of accidents and you find that the road was responsible, then the road design, the road making, the road quality, not informing you of the hazards which you are going to face, not segregating traffic, not putting the right speed zones, are all responsibilities of the road authorities, and they should be equally culpable.
Right.
When you book first information, when you book accidents.
Right. And on a quick word on lane discipline, not possible in India?
No, I think it's not that it's not possible. I think there was an earlier caller also from Dubai who was mentioning about lane discipline. But we have a much bigger challenge as well. We need to acknowledge that, because it's a highly heterogeneous traffic mix. So we do not have only vehicles but also cyclists and motorcyclists and pedestrians. And first of all, we are not able to make our footpaths even right. It's only 6 or 7% of our city's footpaths are actually usable. We do not have shoulders on the highway. Perhaps only on the national highways we have good shoulders where actually these kind of non-motorized vehicles could use. So talking about lane discipline, you have to also provide good facilities first. Then only you can demand.
Yeah, very important part about lanes. See, lanes are based upon codes of road markings. We haven't done any research. We have today a 2-lane road and 5 lanes moving on it because there are two-wheelers. Our codes of practice are wrong, they're outdated, and that is a very big problem, that we don't have segregation for two-wheelers. Today in a 3-lane road we have as many as 12 lanes. What would you do? How can you manage a road, a lane marking, a lane control system? So it is not that people don't want to go in lanes, it is a problem with our codes and traffic engineering systems which are responsible.
And talking of two-wheelers, as we go into a break, how dangerous it is, how important is it for the four-wheeler drivers to take care of them? We leave you with some international videos.
How close does a biker have to be before you see them? Here, here, or here. At a junction, look, then look again. Think, take longer to look for bikes.
Here with the CNN IBN's special campaign on road safety, we're joined by Arunodhay from the Microsoft Analytics Center. I hope I got that right, Arunodhay. Hi.
Yes, you did, Karma. Practice makes perfect. Thanks very much. Yes, we're talking about an issue that really affects you and me, and that's why we try to map it out for you to try and just make a larger impact so you understand the kind of gravity that we're looking at really. This is a map which talks about the deaths in road accidents and the number of deaths in accidents per 1 lakh of the population. This is the map, and Tamil Nadu seems to be topping that list with 21 to 25 deaths being reported. These are just deaths that are being reported, and incidentally, Karma, Bihar seems to be doing very well on that. So that's something that needs to also be taken note of. These are the number of road accidents that we're talking about. Number of road accidents, again, per 1 lakh of the population, 0 to 20. You can see in the green there, in most parts of Uttar Pradesh, you have less amount of accidents. Again, you have, the average number of accidents that we're really seeing is in the central part of India that have been recorded. These data have been sourced from the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, and if you want to access this, you can get it on our website ibnlive.com. But I think we also need to focus on the kind of reactions and the kind of suggestions that are coming in from people who are tuning into this show, because this is something that affects, as I said, you and me, and those are the kind of reactions that we really also need to put out. Someone has posted a picture of something of something which we've all seen, unmanned railway crossings. Muthu Krishnan writes in to say, such people put themselves in danger and others as well. This is something that also needs to be focused. We've seen numerous accidents happening because of this as well. Peter Menzies is writing in to say, all drivers, be it rickshaws, lorry or others, have to undergo a program on driving before obtaining a license. Karma, you and me both know the kind of activities that go on at the Road Transport Authority office as well in the capital. Perhaps that is one level where things could be made a little more strict so we have better drivers on the roads as well. A couple of other reactions before I hand it back to you. Amish Thakur writes in to say, another problem is most of the people have no ideas of the traffic laws. Cops threaten, so they pay bribes. That's the easier way out really, and that's the first reaction that you usually see on the streets of Delhi. At least that's what we can really speak of. Traffic violations should be dealt with quickly. Punitive action is important. Follow the Western model of punishments. Perhaps that could be a deterrent as well. We'd invite all of you who are tuning in, because this is a special campaign being run by CNN IBN. If you see that there is any traffic violation, if you see something on the streets that you think needs to be put out, do tweet that picture to us at IBN Live or IBN CJ. We'll put it out. The first priority is to spread as much awareness as possible. Karma, back to you.
Right, and also important to note, Arun, that you and I don't drink and drive. That's something everybody should do. Thanks for that.
So.
Thanks for being a role model. Okay, I'm told I have my reporter Sahil now. We're going to go across to him and take up this very important issue, a real worry of the growing number of car fires that we've seen. Also, Shubhajit will join us. First to you, Sahil, just talk about these car fires. I carry a hammer with me in my car. What can people do?
Well, Karma, what I have been speaking to experts on car. They say once the fire, your car catches fire, there's very little you can do. You can't afford to be reactive. You have to be proactive. So keep a solid object, as you said. Apart from that, keep a portable extinguisher. Also be aware of the fact that you have to break the side windows, not the front or the rear one, because they are anyway laminated. More importantly, experts have said that we are not innovating as far as car fire safety is concerned. For instance, joining me now is Mr. Lokendra, who is an auto safety expert. He is showing me a battery cutoff device which is available in the market but not very popular. How does it work? Let's speak to Mr. Lokendra. Mr. Lokendra, tell us, what does this device do?
This is a battery cutoff devices. Basically, this is a mechanical devices. You can mount near to the steering, and it is directly connected with the battery terminal. And as your car catches fire, immediately you can just pull out this mechanical key, and all the damaged part of the engine will be isolated.
Right.
And immediately you can come out from the vehicle.
So Karma, as you heard, this device is available in the market. This device will isolate the defected part of your engine from the rest, and hence will help in your vehicle getting safe. We have seen in many cases that it takes seconds for a small spark to turn into a big fire, which becomes uncontrollable. So all you need to do is turn it off, get out of the car, call an ambulance. Yeah, Karma.
Right, also like me, carry a hammer. Let me get in Shahpur at this point, Deputy Editor, Auto Car India. Shahpur, what is disturbing is that nobody has been able to get to the root of it, isn't it? Because, till some time we used to blame a poor maintenance. But what has come out in this recent car accidents is that some of them were new, some of them had been serviced. What is going wrong here?
The problem is a lot of the aftermarket fitments, they create a short circuit. And once the circuit is shorted with power windows and power doors, you have everything going into lock mode. So the windows get locked and the doors get locked. And actually, I heard you saying that you're carrying a hammer. All you need to do actually is turn around on the driver's seat, put your heels on the window, shut your eyes with your hands and push hard with your legs. Your legs are very strong and it will break any window. This goes for even ladies. So this is the safest thing to do. You don't need to be looking around for that hammer when your car is on fire. All you need to do is turn around, face the window with your feet, shut your eyes and push hard. You'll break the window and you can be out of there in 2 seconds. All these other devices, they require more attention, and you might get stuck trying to put it off, put it on. It sometimes doesn't work. It's the simplest things that work best.
Right. If you have an extra car, perhaps I could come to Mumbai and train myself to kick that window out
Absolutely.
Next time.
No, what you need to do is you need to put the window down. You need to put the window down and train yourself. That's what they recommend. That you put the window down and train yourself. Do it 3 or 4 times. You'll get used to it. It can happen in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds. You'd be playing for a new window then.
Right.
And then you'll have to hit your head with your own hammer.
So let's also get in Shubhajit. He's at the Sarai Kale Khan Traffic Training Center. Shubhajit, what are the best practices that experts are recommending there?
Karma, the point is, when we look at the training sector, this is one of the most unorganized sectors. So I'll take back from what Arunodhay said a while back, when a viewer said that it's the ignorance of the traffic rules. From where does this ignorance come in? It's ignorance coming from the very root that they don't train you well. We go to a neighborhood carwala who will take us around the streets and then train us. So what happens? Most of us are not aware what are these signs meant for. Like, if I don't know what a one-way road sign is, which we see on the road all the time, I might just put my car in there, and that may cause for trouble. Again, while we are training a lot of people, we often throw them straight into the car. So what happens then? We don't know. We don't know how the gear works. We don't know how the clutch works, and often it leads to accidents. So there is a leaf which has been taken out from the artificial simulators which are being used in the aerodynamics, in the training which has been given to the pilots. So this kind of a training is which we're seeing here, and with me I have the director of this particular institute, Mr. Mahesh. Sir, you've been using these kind of technologies. How does it change the way you give training to the people?
See, we have been using technology and
a world-class methodology of driving training for last 14 years. Maruti Suzuki has designed this long time back, and today we have about 300 driving schools across India which use the same technology. There are two aspects of this technology. One is the simulator, and second is the driving track where a person can learn driving in a controlled environment. Now this particular curriculum has been designed by studying Western countries and Japan and Singapore, and adopted according to the Indian needs. So what we did, we created this curriculum which consists of minimum 10 hours of on-road driving, 2.5 hours of simulator driving, and 6 hours of theory. Now in theory we tell a lot of things about traffic laws, rules, regulations, sign, and what are the situations in which the accidents happen. Now the basic thing like seat belt. I am sitting in a machine, but I am wearing this. This is a very, very important aspect of driving training, where driver first have to be told that he has to be safe, and as well as he has to see that other people, whether inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle, are also safe. Safety is of prime importance. That is what we teach in these institutes, and of course using this world-class methodology we make them a very confident driver. Now
these simulators which you're showing me right now has been imported from Singapore, so you have to localize the content, the software of it.
See, initially we imported this machine from France, a company who makes aviation simulators. Now this has been designed in India, localized, and now very cheaply available in India. But the most important aspect of this machine is to make a novice driver who is threat to other people on road in the beginning when he start learning. Now to make him confident, this is the machine with which he can understand what are the vehicle controls, because this is actually based on a Maruti Alto car. Then we have different traffic situations like fog, like rain. So he undergoes the entire driving training using this machine.
So that's the demo of the car which is being used right now, which is of course a model of Alto, and the fact remains that now that we have to rectify the road conditions and the road accidents and to lessen them, the thing should start at the very root. We should have proper training institutes to train the potential drivers.
Right, and perhaps add a seat belt, to the video games that our children use also. That's very important, to train them very young. So when they're using the video game, put on a seat belt and tell them it's important. Just a tip of the iceberg. Thanks for that, Shubhajit. We'll go into a short break, come back. We'll be joined by SP Singh, Senior Fellow and Coordinator at the Indian Foundation of Transport Research and Training. Stay safe. We'll come back with more.
Had a friend, wouldn't say a good friend, just someone like me. A little nervous, never easy to please, but stupid enough to stay happy. Had a life, couldn't get a good one, you know what they cost. You learn a thing or two about getting lost when nobody's trying to find you. These things we do just start to crack, and I don't know why. It's like a car crash. Just like a car crash. I had a friend, but I didn't even notice when he started.
Here with Drive Safe and IBN's road safety campaign, and we're also connecting with our reporters across the country. Time now to head across to Deepa Balakrishnan in Bangalore. Deepa?
Well, we are at the Traffic Management Center in Bangalore. You must see this huge video wall that's behind me. This is where surveillance cameras are monitored from across the city. And the man behind this mammoth effort to control and reduce accidents is B. Dayanand, the Additional Commissioner of Traffic. So tell me, after this kind of technological monitoring, have you been able to zero in on violators easily? And I believe you also have done an analysis of accidents. What are your lessons?
Well, with the commissioning of this traffic management center, definitely it has helped us in better management of traffic in Bangalore city. This is a lot of technological initiatives we have implemented in Bangalore city, and it's a culmination of all our efforts. This traffic.
So your accident analysis that you released two months back,
we have done
there's one interesting thing that children who are being carried in two-wheelers are more at risk. There are more fatalities involving them. Is there an awareness program now?
Yes, we are going for awareness programs for various segments, and the analysis has given us an insight into the vulnerable groups who are have to be focused upon, and definitely children are one segment which needs to be focused.
Have you found accident-prone zones?
We have found accident-prone zones we call black spots, and we have found in our analysis that there are about 10 stretches in Bangalore city which account for 38% of fatal accidents in Bangalore city. It is quite a revelation for us also, and now we are going for a micro-level analysis of all these 10 stretches and coming out with concrete measures so as to reduce accidents on these stretches.
So will we have more cameras now? I believe surveillance cameras have really helped you in tackling the traffic violation problem.
Yes, another 100 high-definition cameras are in the pipeline. The work will commence next week. Probably in the next 3 months, the 100 new cameras will be added.
So what are the most, usual kinds, most common kinds of accidents that you see caused by the driver?
Most of the accidents are due to negligence on the part of the driver. Sometimes it is not wearing seat belt, not wearing the helmet, or talking on mobile phone. These are the general causes. Sometimes it's also due to engineering deficiencies.
But I believe pedestrians are particularly at risk. In Bangalore specifically, pedestrians are involved more in casualties.
Yes, pedestrians are the vulnerable group. Pedestrians and two-wheelers and cyclists. These three are the vulnerable groups in Bangalore city based on our analysis. About 20% of the fatalities are for pedestrians. So we are focusing upon on that segment, and this year the pedestrian casualties have come down.
Right, you can see an integrated approach really to try and curb accidents at all times. As the traffic police motto says, change lanes at your own risk, because then you could change your fate.
And also interesting, Deepa, because these videos have gone viral, not just on YouTube, on all the social networking sites, isn't it? Perhaps bringing to focus, and people watch those videos and are scared and become aware as to following. We should really thank the Bangalore police for doing that. Let's cut across now to Calcutta. Priyanka Gupta joining us from Calcutta. Priyanka, if the police in Calcutta were to fix CCTV cameras there in the city, I'm sure they will also be able to get some fantastic perspectives on the kind of chaos that's there on the roads there.
Absolutely, Karma. There is certainly chaos on the streets, mainly because of lack of road space. But as far as numbers are concerned, Karma, the main cause of accidents in the state are lorries and trucks. In the last 24 hours, 3 people have died in an incident when a trailer truck rammed into a house, killing a child as well. And another incident, in 2 separate incidents in Kolkata, 3 people were injured, including a police officer as well as a 6-month-old child, when a truck driver tried to escape the law after flouting the law. So there have been separate incidents of 3 separate accidents, mainly caused by lorry drivers. As far as Calcutta is concerned, the main reason, the main cause of fatalities, or the main victims of fatalities really have been pedestrians. In 2012, more than 200 pedestrians have lost their lives in Kolkata alone. To talk about the reasons and the issues pertaining to Calcutta and Bengal as far as road safety is concerned, we have members of Hive India. It's an NGO which rescues accident victims from the streets. What are the main reasons that you've located that leads to such huge number of deaths in the city?
So basically what we have seen in Calcutta is there is an immense lack of road space, and there is no awareness among the pedestrians about the pedestrian rules. There is a lot of negligence among the drivers, and what we look at, one thing is basically the training of drivers. The drivers need to be more educated and trained before they are going on the streets with a license to drive. That is very important to reduce the number of deaths. One aspect of it is prevention of road accidents. Another is
so the road safety mechanism that that Calcutta Traffic Police is trying to put in place, but unfortunately they are thwarted by a main factor, which is lack of road space. Kolkata has the lowest road space among all the metros in the country.
Right, thanks for that. Let's get in Mr. S.P. Singh. Thank you for joining us. You know, we've looked at a series of issues, but of course enforcement is one, but education, isn't it, one of the major issues, because drivers these days get illegal licenses. Some of them don't even know how to read signs. Most of these lorry drivers, the truck drivers, as Priyanka was reporting.
No, the issue of road safety, when we are talking, is a much wider issue.
Right.
The Central Motor Vehicle Act was passed in 1998. That main objective was there should be a free flow of traffic and people should be able to move on the road safely. So most of the discussions which we are going on since morning, as if we believe that only the safety issue is an urban issue, where more than 50% of the road deaths are taking place in the rural area and small towns, you know. So where we don't have CCTV cameras, even if if we are going to install in Bangalore 100 or 200 in Delhi, the larger issue is that are we, the agencies which have to enforce, we have mentioned about, for state governments, those who have to enforce the rules and regulations of the Motor Vehicle Act, for them by and large the Motor Vehicle Act has become a source of legal and illegal revenue.
Right.
And as far as the highways are concerned, for the vehicle owners, they want to move on. Whatsoever happens, they have to pay and get over to the next station, you know.
Right.
So they are in a hurry. They don't want whosoever is killed. I give you one example. On the day our Gopinath Munde ji had to suffer such a huge loss for the country we had to face. Now on the same day, in Rajasthan Badmer, a multi-axle trailer overloaded crashes into a car and snuffs out life of 6 people in Balotra.
Certainly, that's a big issue. So we'll
now,
come back.
Same day, same day near Nagaur, 5 people are killed against a trailer. Now, issue is that the killings, 130,000 people are dying. More than half of them are getting hit and killed because of the commercial vehicles. Large number of, most of them are overloaded vehicles.
That's right.
The issue is that it is a national issue, and when it is a national issue, the compliance is an issue, and for that, before me, those who have spoken, everyone has a responsibility, and we are one of those organizations. We want to see where the all stakeholders
certainly
take their responsibility and implement the laws so that the safety is ensured, you know.
Very important points. 40% of the deaths, in fact, according to a survey by an institute, said because of the accident highways and involving the larger vehicles, the trucks. With that, we go into a short break. Mr. S.P. Singh, thank you so much for joining us here on CNN IBN. We continue to focus on road safety. Here's a story of Mavis Russell, who turned citizen journalist to highlight how Delhi-Gurgaon road is unsafe. She lost her son on the very same expressway. Akanksha Pradeep helped her file this story.
Hi, I'm Mavis Russell. I lost my son on this expressway, Delhi-Gurgaon expressway, last year. I've turned citizen journalist today to tell you how this expressway has become a death trap for hundreds of lives lost in the year.
Vikram was just one of them. His car had been badly smashed and my son lost his life on the spot. Coming to terms with reality wasn't easy for me, but I realized soon that Vikram was not the only one. Newspaper reports claim that many had met with fatal accidents on the expressway. I knew I couldn't let Vikram's death go in vain. I decided to investigate the reason for such frequent accidents. We filed an RTI in November last year asking authorities for the number of accidents on this stretch. The reply shocked us. 208 accidents took place on the expressway between 2010 and 2011. 83 people lost their lives. I was determined that Vikram's death would not remain a mere statistic.
Why on expressway there has to be so steep turns? There are no parking ways. Wherever it connects with the city, that has to be, free of all the obstructions.
You are on a freeway, so you really don't expect to be traveling at 20 or 30 kilometers an hour. You're going to be traveling at 80 or whatever the prescribed speed limit is.
Trucks not following the speed limits, sometimes parked in the middle of tail lights, have claimed many lives. I, along with Vikram's friends, have spent days documenting how safety rules are being flouted by commuters on the expressway every day. Accidents just waiting to happen.
You can watch the entire show on IBNlive.com. Remember, your safety starts with you. So you start following the traffic rules with a simple seat belt on. With that, come to the end of this program. Stay safe.